Welcome back to the Couch to 5K series, in which I go through every single run, talk about how the run went, my emotions, my feelings, and just give you any pointers onto anything I've learned during these runs so far, and just go through my experiences and what you're likely to experience if you're following the program just like I am. So, if you're following the video so far, you will see I am now on week 5 of the program, week 5, run 1 specifically, and this will be my 13th run in total. So, on this run, I woke up fired up. No, that's a complete lie. I planned to run in the morning, so I am recording this on a Thursday evening, and I planned to run yesterday, so being Wednesday morning, and I didn't run. I planned to run on Wednesday morning, and I believe I set an alarm for like half 6, 7ish in the morning, and I woke up for the alarm, pressed snooze, rolled over back into bed, and thinking back to it now, I probably 100% should have got up and gone for the run in the morning, but I didn't. And I'm just coming to admit that to show that I am a human being. I am not going to be 100%. There's going to be days where I miss a run. There's going to be days where I'm not up to it, and there may be days where I sort of give into my emotions of feeling lazy and don't do what I set out to do. And I'm doing this to be fully honest and transparent to show that even though I have made all this progress so far, I'm still having days where I'm lazy and unmotivated, kind of like how I was on Wednesday morning. And that just goes to show that you are a human being. Like, there's going to be days where you feel like hitting snooze and just rolling over in bed, like I did in the morning, and just taking the chance to reflect on that now. Obviously, I should have run, but I didn't. But that's completely fine because I made up for it later. So, in order to make up for that, I plan to run in the afternoon, which is slightly different to when I normally run. I tend to run in the mornings because I like it when it's quieter. There's not many cars on the road, and there's just less people about. So you don't have to worry about your surroundings as much, and the roads tend to be a little bit quieter. So you can just go for your runs without really being bothered and worrying about traffic as such. So obviously, it was a little bit of a different experience running in the afternoon. Obviously, I I've never seen anyone in my experience go for runs in the afternoon, so it's probably not the best time to run because the roads will be very busy and there'll be lots of traffic. So I had to be more vigilant and cautious to make sure I was aware of my surroundings and made sure I was not I was just to make sure that I was safe while I was running. So as you've seen, I mentioned that this is now the start of week 5. So that means that there will be another step up in terms of how long I'm running for, and there will be a few changes to the running structure, which I'll go through right now. So there are some big changes this week, and I will throw up 2 pictures. One picture being the running structure for week 4, where all the runs are entirely the same. So I'll just throw one of the runs I completed and just tell you what the structure's like on the left hand side. And then on the right hand side, I will show you what my run looks like from today, being the first run of week 5. So if we just look at a run from week 4, you'll see that you get the chance to warm up for 5 minutes, which will be the same throughout all your runs. You'll run for 3 minutes, walk for 90, run for 5, walk for 2.5, run for 3, walk for 90, and then run for a final 5, and then cool down for 5. And then if you take a look at week 5, you will see that you will obviously warm up for 5, just like you always do. But now you're starting your first run for 5 minutes. You then get to walk for 3 minutes, run for five again, walk for three, and then cap that off with a final run for 5 minutes, and then cool down for another 5 minutes. So if you want to do the maths and get on technical, you will see that in week 4, you're actually doing more running if you add up all the numbers. If you add up 2 3s and 2 5s, you will get 16 minutes of running. And if you compare that to the run in week 5, you actually see that you're only running for 15 minutes. So you're actually running for slightly less time, but what they've kind of done here is they've kind of condensed your running blocks. So in your blocks, you're running for slightly longer rather than having them spread out over 4 blocks. They sort of condensed them down and sort of mashed it together and made you run in 3 blocks instead. And I guess the idea behind that is to encourage you to start running for longer now. You should have the confidence and the ability to run for 5 minutes on separate occasions as you already have. You should have already demonstrated that if you completed week 4, because you would have done it on at least 2 occasions. So doing it 3 times shouldn't be no issue at all, because you've already run in 5 minute blocks on any run you've completed in week 4. So in terms of that, it shouldn't feel like a steep increase, because in fact you're running for less time. I know it's only a minute, but it is slightly less time. You're essentially just running in more condensed blocks. So what you're doing is you're running for longer in 3 blocks as opposed to running in 4 blocks that are slightly spaced out and giving you an opportunity to rest in between each one. So that's what the running structure looks like in terms of week 4 and the comparison to week 5. So in terms of how my run went, I just want to make a quick point and say that I tried on some old running gear I had. I completely forgot I own this. And in terms of gear, I guess I'm overemphasizing what I mean by that. I just mean I stuck on a loose fit t-shirt. I stuck on a loose fit t-shirt and some old running shorts I had. I completely forgot I owned these. And I stuck these on and then had my running vest on top, and I just felt different. I felt like it made a great difference. I had my loose fit t-shirt and some running shorts, and I just felt so much more confident. I felt like a runner because of these running shorts I put on. That I just for some reason I just remembered I owned them. I stuck them on, and they just felt so much better to wear than joggers. And I guess it's because they feel lightweight, whereas joggers can be a little bit heavier and kind of reduce the movement your legs can move. Whereas with my lightweight shorts, my legs are more free to move around and they're much lighter. So maybe that's why I felt better. But I felt a lot better wearing running shorts and also just a loose, oversized t-shirt. Oversized t-shirt, and I just felt better wearing them. So the way you dress may reflect how your running goes, or your performance. Let's say if you look good, perhaps you'll feel good, and maybe that'll have an impact on your running. Because I definitely felt like it had some kind of noticeable impact today, because I definitely felt better wearing the shorts. So maybe that's an idea to try if you've kind of worn the same clothes every time you've been out for your runs. Maybe try out a pair of running shorts instead, or maybe consider investing in a running vest, because it might make you feel more inclined to run and make your running experience slightly better, because it definitely did in my case. So that's just something to think about. So I just wanted to take a bit of time to reflect and realize how much progress I've made so far. So, talking in the present day, I am on week 5, run 1, and I believe this is near about to the halfway stage of the program. So I think this is a good opportunity just to take a bit of time to reflect on how far I've come so far. So in the program altogether, there are 27 runs, and I am currently on run 13, so it's near about halfway. And I just wanted to say, I have made quite good progress so far. Like, if I was to draw a comparison to where I started in week 1 and where I am today, I'll just throw the pictures on screen of how the runs look and just draw back to how my run looked in week 1, my very first run, and then look at the run I did today. And there's such a big difference. And it just goes to show that if you can put together a little bit of consistency and keep showing up, you can make substantial progress in just a matter of weeks. The difference between my first run and my current run today is only about 4 weeks. That's very good progress for someone who's getting back into running. And even if you're someone who's just starting out, that's what you can achieve if you put your mind to it and just stay consistent and just make running enjoyable, because you can make great leaps of progress. And this is how much I've achieved in just 4 weeks. Imagine how much I can achieve in, let's say, 6 months from now. I could be running a 10k, 20k, who knows? I could achieve a lot. And I'm being perfectly honest here, I'm only running about 2 times a week on average, and I've still managed to achieve a fair amount of. I've, I've managed to achieve a decent amount so far in terms of being able to go on these runs and being consistent. So it goes to show that if you remain consistent with whatever goal or mission you have, you can make the progress very, very quickly, as long as you remain consistent and it becomes an important pillar in your life. As long as you give it the priority and give it time, you will make progress without a doubt. So I just wanted to take a moment to just think about how far I've come and just see that I have made quite a big leap of progress in just a matter of weeks. So it goes to show that if you're someone who's really dialed in and is able to stay consistent with whatever goal you have, you can achieve it. And I've already made great progress in a matter of 4 weeks, and you can too if you stick with the program. So, moving on from that, I just wanted to highlight on this run towards the latter stages. So you'll see that the run is divvied up into 3 blocks of 5-minute running. So you'll have a block of 5 minutes, and then you'll walk, and then you repeat that again and again. So on my third block of running for 5 minutes, I started to feel a little bit of, I'm not sure what it was. I know I felt a little bit of discomfort, and then as I stopped to walk after my block of running had ended, I just felt my lower back feeling a little bit of pain and tightness, and I haven't experienced that before. So that sort of raised a question to me as to what exactly was going on. I was a bit confused, like, why am I feeling pain in my lower back? I haven't experienced this before. Something isn't quite right. And once I finished the run and then took a bit of time to reflect on it, I decided to go home after my run, take a shower, and then just take a little bit of time to research and just learn about why I might be experiencing back pain. And what I found was that this is very common in new runners or people coming back into running. And this is that runners who slowly start to increase their mileage, as I am, they may start to experience lower back pain and a little bit of tightness. And that's definitely what I felt. I felt my lower back starting to get a little bit stiff towards the end of the run. And I sort of lost my mobility and didn't really feel as free and nimble as you should do when you're running. You should feel light on your toes and you should be able to move around very smoothly, and you shouldn't really feel tight anywhere. So me feeling that sort of tightness in my lower back was a big red flag, and that made me question what's going on. Something doesn't feel quite right. I wanted to go and try and address this, because you should be able to run pain free. If you're running and experiencing some sort of pain, go ahead and address it right away before the problem gets worse. And that's exactly what I've done with this little bit of research I did. And I just looked into it, and what I found was that runners who experience lower back pain is likely down to a few things. But the most common answer I got was that it boils down to poor running technique. What I was going to say was that low back pain and tightness within your lower back when it comes to running is often a direct result of poor running technique and also weak hip flexors. So just to put it down as an example, pretend this ruler is your spine, and where my fingers are right now is your lower back. And what will happen, or what is something that's very common in new runners, and what is definitely, or something, what I believe happened to me today was that my lower back, as a result of me getting tired and having weak hip flexors, my lower back started to round forward like that. And this, I believe, is called an anterior pelvic tilt. And this is when your hips are not strong enough to support your posture anymore as a result of you running and getting tired. It's not able to support your posture and keep your body aligned correctly as you continue to run for longer and get fatigued. So as a result of that, your lower back gets pushed forward and puts more stress and tension within your lower back region. And as a result of that, you may start to feel pain and tightness, because this is not what should happen. Your hip flexors should be strong enough to maintain a good enough posture so that when you run, you don't feel any pain or tightness. And if you do feel that pain and tightness, and you do feel your hips rounding a bit forward and your lower back sort of arching out a little bit, that is most likely down to having weak hip flexors. But there's good news, you can address the problem. And what I found is that if you just set a bit of time aside to educate yourself on how you can train your hip flexors, I took a little bit of time myself just to learn what I can do to strengthen them. And there are plenty of exercises and movements you can do to strengthen your hip flexors. And you would treat this the same way as if you were in the gym and you were lifting weights. In this case, I'm going to take it upon myself to strengthen my hip flexors in the same manner I would with weights. However, I'm just going to use my body weight instead of actual weights or dumbbells, for example, if you were in the gym, let's say. And I'm going to implement a few exercises, one of them being called a standing knee raise. And I'm going to just incorporate a few exercises and take that time to strengthen my hip flexors through a series of movements. And hopefully over time, as I sort to bed this in alongside my running, and so I'll have my running that I do normally, that won't change. I'll have my stretching that I do after every run, and then on my off days I'll take a bit of time to incorporate these strength movements in which I'll start to incorporate, which I have done today. And what I will do is just start doing a couple of movements and just start focusing on strengthening these hip flexors, because I want these to be strong enough so that when I run, I no longer feel any pain in my lower back or tightness. And this will obviously take time, but hopefully when I start to do these consistently, this is not something you can do one and done. This is something you'll have to do consistently. But it'll only take me maybe 10-15 minutes of my time. I'm only going to do a couple sets of this movement just to train those hip flexors and make sure that I build them up and make them stronger, so that when I run, my technique isn't let down by the lack of strength in my hip flexors. I'm able to, I want to get to a point where I'm able to run for longer and not have my technique sort of go out the window when I get tired and my lower back starts rounding forward, as I can't sort of maintain the correct posture to run anymore. So I'm going to take action and look to strengthen my hip flexors, and hopefully over time this sort of lower back pain and tightness starts to go away as I slowly start to strengthen my hip flexors. And with my upcoming runs, hopefully this problem isn't evergreen and it eventually starts to go away, run by run. So I'll keep you updated on if this issue persists and let you know if anything comes of it. And just to wrap things up, I'll throw in a little screenshot from Strava that will show you just the details of the run, how long I ran for, and also distance as well. And that'll be a wrap. I'll see you in the next run.